Gerlant van Berlaer is a pediatric oncologist. This Belgian doctor is one of 16 pediatricians who's written an open letter to their parliament asking to legalize euthanasia for patients under the age of 18. Only Belgium, the Netherlands and Luxembourg allow euthanasia, or the right to die, but opponents question whether children are capable of deciding to end their own lives.
Most of the time they're afraid that we'll just go walking through the hospitals and killing children. Of course, this is nonsense. We as doctors and parents will always want to do the maximum we can to care and to cure a child. But in some very rare situations, there's really nothing we can do anymore. And then this might mean that a child will have to suffer until finally death will come along. And there's no legal way in helping these patients in an ultimate act of humanity.
The extended euthanasia law currently being debated in Parliament does not specify a minimum age. But doctors who witness the daily suffering of their young patients argue these children are mature beyond their years, a suffering that affects the whole family and one which has made it difficult to get either parents or patients to talk about euthanasia openly. Ella Louise was 6 months old when she was diagnosed with an incurable genetic disease. She died 4 months later. Her mother, Linda, says watching her daughter suffer in the last days of her life was unbearable. She knows that extending the euthanasia bill for minors does not include situations such as Ella Louise's, but she hopes that one day this will be possible. For her, there is no minimum age when it comes to suffering.
The last 4 or 5 days of Ella Louise, that's what we felt. There was no quality, there was no dignity, not to her life. The only thing that happened to her was she was getting more skinny because she was, like eating all her body reserves. She was getting very, very skinny. She was in pain again, and it made me angry.
René Stockman is a senior member of the Brothers of Charity. Among other missions, this religious order runs hospices in several countries which provide palliative care. While he says he understands that suffering can be unbearable, for him it's more about finding a sense in life than stopping it.
We see people are coming in with that clear request, stop my life. I cannot survive anymore in that situation. They choose nevertheless for palliative care, and after a few days we see that the question to die is not posed anymore because they receive again, I can say, sense in their life. It is all about sense in life.
Giving a sense or purpose to life when the suffering has become too much. For supporters of euthanasia, the purpose is to be able to decide to end one's life in a dignified and humanitarian way and doing it safely and legally. But the current debate on euthanasia for minors has also ignited an older one. How does the medical profession decide when the suffering is too much? And there have been controversial cases such as last year. Identical twins were euthanized. When already deaf, they were going blind. They were not terminally ill. Wim Dustelmans is the doctor who approved the twins' euthanasia. He says that while 80% of euthanasia cases are people with cancer or incurable diseases, there are cases like the twins when the psychological suffering is just as bad.
They were deaf and going blind. This was their limit. It was everything to do with perspectives. Only the patient can decide. They said, we don't want to continue living being totally dependent on others and a burden. And that was going to happen the moment they went blind. They were very Catholic, and the priest that was with them gave them the last rites. And he was present during their euthanasia. So it might seem troubling, but in principle it wasn't.
Despite some controversial cases, no doctor has ever been charged with malpractice. But for this man, there's a question of ethics. In January of 2012, Tom Morteer's mother, whom he had lost contact with for over a year, sent him an email saying she'd requested euthanasia because of her depression. Never thinking it would be approved, he didn't get in touch with her, but the doctor said her suffering was unbearable and approved her request.
She had irreversible periods of depression, but she also had good periods. I can show you a picture of 1 year and a half before her death, and she is a smiling, good-looking woman of 63. And she was 64 when she died. What I'm saying is you have to give the medical ethics back to the medical doctor. I mean, what is happening here? The medical doctors, what are they saying? This is the law, and I don't have to take care of my ethics anymore.
For this elderly woman, it's not so much a question of ethics, but of love. Augusta Woeders and her husband Paul live in a nursing home. She has terminal cancer and is in constant pain. Augusta signed a statement asking to be euthanized when the suffering becomes too much. But because of her husband, she has changed her mind. It's her choice.
The pain's not going away. And I ask myself, how long will this go on for? I don't know. My doctor has said, just tell us when, and it will be arranged, the euthanasia. But I look at Paul and I think, he's so helpless now. He really needs me. And I think, I can't do this.
Mark van Hooy is a general practitioner. He supports the bill on euthanasia for minors but says it doesn't go far enough. For him, patients in early stages of dementia and Alzheimer's should also have the right to euthanasia, to sign a statement that they would like to die when the latter stages of the disease set in. He defends his medical ethics. He's not playing God, but just fulfilling the wishes of his patients.
A normal person just wants to live, want to go on living. It is just in a situation that you say, this I can't stand anymore, then I want to die. And, you know, when you assist in euthanasia, the patient dying has a kind of a good expression on the face. And my personal opinion is that it is because that person finally has a kind of relaxation in accepting and in saying, my struggle is over, I reached my goal, I have what I want.
Helping those who are suffering to get what they want. In Belgium, opinion polls show that some 80% of the population support euthanasia, even for minors. But for others, this law has crossed an ethical and moral line.
At the one hand, I see that there is a majority that became more tolerant against euthanasia as such, as a principle, but now, at the same time, I think also more people are asking themselves, how far can we go?
How far Belgium is willing to go is a debate that will continue not only here but beyond its borders, where many countries are watching it closely.